All right, let's talk about something that honestly should be a no-brainer: financial literacy. The class you probably never had. We're going to dig into why it's missing from so many schools, what's actually in these classes when they do exist, and, this is the really interesting part, what it all says about what school is even for. So, let's get into it.
I mean, it seems so obvious, doesn't it? We all have to deal with money, budgeting, credit, taxes, student loans. It's just a basic part of life. So how is it that most of us can graduate high school diploma in hand without ever learning a single thing about how to manage our finances?
Well, get this. As of 2024, the number of U.S. states that make you take a personal finance class to graduate, it's just 21. 21! That means millions and millions of young people are thrown into the deep end, totally unprepared for the huge financial decisions that are right around the corner.
Okay, so let's start with that big, obvious question. If this stuff is so important, why isn't it taught everywhere? There are a few surface-level practical reasons that schools will give you.
And, if you put yourself in a school administrator's shoes, you can kind of see their point. Their curriculum is already bursting at the seams. They've got to teach math, science, history, all the core stuff. Then you've got the problem of who's even going to teach it. Not many teachers are experts in personal finance. And let's be real, if it's not on the big standardized tests that everyone's judged on, well, it's just not going to be a top priority.
But what about those 21 states? The ones that do have these classes? What's actually being taught? What's in the playbook? This is where it starts to get really interesting.
So a core idea you see a lot is this concept called human capital. It's basically the idea that you are an investment. The message is, go to college, learn new skills, make yourself more valuable, because that increases your future earning power. The whole goal is to shape you into a rational consumer who makes smart, calculated choices with your money.
Now, this entire philosophy is built on the foundation of one particular economic theory, neoclassical economics. It's kind of the default way of thinking in a lot of circles, and it basically sees the world as a giant marketplace full of perfectly logical people and companies all making perfectly rational choices.
And this theory has three, let's call them big assumptions. 1. People are rational. We weigh the pros and cons logically. 2. Individuals want to maximize their happiness, or utility, and companies want to maximize profit. Simple enough? And 3. People make decisions with full and complete information. That's the perfect, tidy world these classes are designed for. But, you have to ask, is that how the real world works?
And this is where we start to peel back the layers, because some critics say there's something else going on here. They call it a hidden curriculum. These are the unspoken lessons, the stuff that's not on the syllabus, that teaches students how to think about the world and their role in it.
The educator Hung Nam really nails the core criticism here. He argues that by focusing so much on individual choices, that classic advice like, just stop buying lattes and you'll be a millionaire, these classes end up putting all the blame on individuals for problems that are actually huge systemic issues.
So a hidden curriculum isn't what's written in black and white in the textbook. It's the vibe. It's the values that are baked in. It's what you learn between the lines about what's normal, who's in charge, and maybe most importantly, what you're not supposed to question. And this right here really gets to the heart of it. Look at what's taught. Individual budgeting, your personal investments, managing your debt, it's all on you. Now look at what's left out. Huge things like wage theft from employers, which, by the way, costs workers way more than all robberies and burglaries combined. Or what about workers' rights, the power of organizing a union to bargain for better pay? The curriculum basically teaches you how to be a good manager of the money you're given, but it doesn't teach you how to challenge the system to get paid what you're worth.
And when you see what's left out, you might start to wonder, well, who's writing these textbooks anyway? And it turns out a lot of them are sponsored by, you guessed it, Wall Street firms, banks, corporate lobbies, think groups like Junior Achievement. So maybe it's no surprise that the focus is on creating good customers for financial products, not on creating citizens who might question the whole system.
Okay, to really understand this, we need to zoom way, way out. We have to look at how our whole modern school system was designed in the first place.
So the blueprint for the kind of public school system we have today, it actually comes from 18th century Prussia. It was super efficient, and an American education reformer named Horace Mann saw it in the 1840s, loved it, and brought the model back to the United States. From there, it basically spread all over the world.
But here's the thing. Even back then, this model had its critics. They called it factory model education. They said its real goal wasn't to create independent critical thinkers, it was to create obedient, disciplined workers who would be perfect for the factories of the industrial age. And when you think about it that way, a financial curriculum that teaches you to work within the system and never question it fits that model like a glove.
So all of this brings up a really important question. If the standard way of teaching this stuff has all these hidden problems, then what would real financial literacy even look like? What should the goal be?
There's a fascinating study out of Japan that gives us a hint. It looked at who's best at teaching different money skills, and what it found was pretty cool. For short-term habits, like, being careful with your spending, paying your bills on time, parents were actually the most effective teachers. But for the big, long-term stuff, like investing for retirement, that's where school and workplace training really made a difference.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that financial education isn't some one-size-fits-all thing you can just check off a list in high school. It has to be a lifelong process. We learn different pieces of the puzzle at different times, from our families, from school, and from just living life.
And that brings us right back to the heart of the matter. The real debate isn't just if we should teach financial literacy. Of course we should. The much deeper, more important question is, why? What's the ultimate purpose?
Is the goal just to create better consumers, people who are more efficient cogs in the current economic machine? Or is the goal to create more critical citizens, people who not only understand the system, but can also question it, see its flaws, and have the tools to work together to build a more fair economy for everyone? That's really the question at the heart of it all. Thanks so much for tuning in.